What's up, Kabroda crew? Welcome back. Hopefully you all are doing well today. Back in it for another day, checking out the market again. Had a little bit of a drop down yesterday after after our live stream. Kind of just continued down pretty much. What we closed our live stream about 9, so it just continued on the fall it already had been kind of on, past where we thought it might turn around. But that's how it is. I guess you never know. System told you to stay out though. You might be a little mad you missed the trade, but mostly the system told you to stay out just because basically it's just because the longer time frame was essentially telling us, using TA and a couple other things, it was telling us that the run was pretty much over there, so it was waiting for that turnaround. Yes, it did fall farther. You can't ever really call a full-on bottom with TA until it's already kind of turned around. So whenever it starts to call a bottom, that's just when you want to stay out, because essentially what you're doing is you're just de-risking yourself, because you could have gotten in short here, and yes, yesterday you could have made a little pretty good trade. I don't know, 3-1 or so, probably more than that depending on how you took the trade, but regardless, you also could have just gotten ripped out of the market if it had in fact decided to turn. Today we're looking at a similar scenario. We're still in that point at which we could turn, and we kind of had a little bit of a topping pattern here, so there's definitely a possibility that we will just turn right here. So yeah, we'll see what happens today, but we are in a similar scenario, so we'll just start off with that. We'll say good morning to everybody. So looks like we got Terry coming in, we got Kathleen. Welcome in, y'all. Thanks for joining. Thanks for coming into the live stream. We got Baxter over here, just trying to, wants to be in the live stream today, I guess. He just wants some pets, I think. But yeah, we'll go ahead and jump in, throw the levels on the chart, see what's going on. We got some stuff to show you on Kabroda. Some stuff, we've been updating a little bit. Some new stuff. We actually have an example too of not exactly what it will look like, but the kind of basic concept of what we're looking to do, in the future with having it where it could come out to you guys, since the site's mostly just for us right now, while we work on the back end and stuff like that. We'll have an example of what our we're not really sure we're calling it quite yet, but it's kind of like a daily brief type thing where you can see the basically what we have been kind of going over, like yesterday on the live, what we kind of read through, and I believe we kind of talked about it on Thursday too. So we'll show that off, and then we'll also jump into the charts and get our levels set up, see what's going on with BTC today. But yeah, hopefully y'all are doing well. Nice and sunny here, so not too bad. Yesterday we had a little bit of a rainy, well, it didn't really ever rain here, but it did have a kind of just overcast, nasty, cloudy type day. So definitely nice to see the sun out again. Hoping to get in some wakeboard and stuff soon with the weather kind of getting a little better. But yeah, without further ado, we'll jump into it. So gonna head on over to Kabroda.com, see what we got. So today we are in a bear setup again. We're building that up. We got nothing really happening on the jewel. The system's telling you stand down, and then you got your different levels on there, but we're going to go ahead and throw those on the chart, so you don't need to worry too much about those. We'll head back here to our chart and we'll get those on there. Switch it out from Wednesday, get our new levels on there. Boom, there we go. Looking pretty nice for today. We'll close off that. Don't need that on there. All right, so these are the levels today. You got your 30-minute range right here in the middle. Breakdown is here in purple, breakout in green. You got your daily resistance right there in red, and then down here is your daily support. Daily support's down here at this last low, a little bit higher, I guess, but you know, it's it's not too far off. Yeah, we'll see how it works here. We're gonna probably break down. If we do end up breaking anywhere, we'll more than likely break down just based off how this pattern's kind of set up. But you know, we'll see. That holds some merit, but obviously there's a lot more stuff that goes into it, a lot more stuff that the system's actually looking at, and that's why you know, we talk more about you know, things like, okay, staying down today versus you know, hey, we're gonna go down today. So we'll talk a little bit more about that here coming up. But mostly just looking at the levels, this is kind of what you're looking at. We've been sitting mostly within the range. If we draw our fib lines on there, we're pretty much we've been below 50% for pretty much the full range. Let's see, where did Wednesday even start? Yeah, I mean, since Wednesday started right there or around there, you've basically been below the half point, which is this red line here. So that's also another sign that we're going to go down just based off the lines. But overall, you know, really, who knows right now? Like I said, the short-term 15-minute could be looking like we're ready to go down, but that doesn't mean very much of anything. As for the jewel, you're kind of mid-level. It's showing that we could kind of bottom here on the jewel and flip and go up a little bit more, but that doesn't, I don't know, it's kind of mid-range. It's not really, doesn't mean a whole lot. It's not really a whole lot to go off of there. It's kind of just middle line. If anything, you know, could have some bearish momentum kind of coming in here. We'll see. Like I said, it's midline, so either way, kind of not really definitive there. You have had three beast modes candles kind of coming in. One was way up here, and then we have here one here, and then another one there before we drop down here. That one actually happened yesterday, I think. Yeah, yesterday. That's weird. Yeah, yesterday. I don't know, for some reason I was thinking something different, but I guess, yeah, that was yesterday. Guess we were up here when we started yesterday, kind of dropped down. Yeah, so yeah, that was yesterday whenever that beast mode candle kind of came in. So that's typically a bottoming signal. You'll see those whenever we start to bottom. Kind of like I said yesterday, typically you'll see one, and then the next time the next one forms, that's where you'll see the bottom kind of form here. Interesting though, like I said, you know, kind of just been a little bit of, you know, I would say weird price action, not in the sense of like just kind of blowing it off, but just like, you know, it's going down and the rest of the market's ready to go up. So it's just something you want to be more careful with. And that's why I would say, you know, weird price action. So it's not necessarily like way out of the TA. It's just that the TA is saying one thing and price action's doing another. So it's just something you want to be careful with, especially if you're trying to trade and stuff like that. So we're kind of showing some bottom signals even here on the 15, looking like we're going to flip to the other side. Obviously, we dropped down even lower yesterday than we had here. Interestingly enough, we actually had some divergence kind of happen here. You can see the price action continuing down, whereas the jewel indicator here is starting to go up. If you guys want this indicator, by the way, it is a meta signals indicator, so you have to go look up meta signals, check them out. I believe, oh man, I don't even know how much it is. It's It's I think it's actually a monthly subscription you can pay for this. We got in a while ago, so we have some special stuff. But yeah, you can pay for this indicator on there if you'd like to have it on your own chart. But yeah, you can see a little bit of uptrends there, whereas the price action is obviously going down. So we're seeing some divergence there, flipping just another, you know, signal that we could get going to the upside here pretty soon. Yeah, let's jump into the breakdown though and kind of see how it's going, see what's happening. So we'll open up our cockpit here. We got our whole breakdown here. You can see there's no setup for today. Stand down. You don't want to be jumping into anything. If you go check out why, it's telling you that because the exit warning is active, which means essentially if you had been in a trade, it's basically saying it's about time to get out of the trade. It's time to be taking your profit off. Just, you know, pulling some stuff off the market, kind of backing down a little bit. So it's not really a time you want to be jumping in. Essentially, if the indicators are telling you to pull your money off, you don't want to be just putting your money on. And then the other thing is there is divergence. I believe that was on the higher time frames that it's looking at for the divergence. I actually think we talked about that yesterday with the, I want to say it was like the 1 hour, 4 hour. Might be longer than that though. Might be like daily or something like that. We'll have to go check it out though. So going up here to our analysis brief, this is kind of the thing that will be in our daily brief thing that we're going to be sending out. Like I said, I'll show you guys an example of that here in a little bit, but we'll go over this first and then we'll go jumping over and just kind of check that out to see what it'll kind of look like. So the beer wave 4 bounce collapsed from its structural ceiling. Price has fallen from that 80,632 level invalidation zone all the way to that current 67,000 area. Decline over $9,600 from the wave high and the bear 4 bounce that originated at 60,055. It's the bear bounce that originated at 60,055 is now clearly in terminal deterioration. The 74,501 maximum gravity wall delivered its distribution verdict weeks ago, and the structural confirmation that ends the bear cycle is a weekly close below that 60,055, which triggers bear wave 5 and opens the path to that 42,000, 45,000 level destination. Elliott wave parameters pending weekly verification. So essentially, same thing as yesterday. You know, we do got to wait for that weekly close before we can say that we are in fact in a new bear wave or anything like that, because we're basing our Elliott waves off of the weekly. So we really need a weekly candle close to, you know, kind of change anything on that. So obviously, it's giving you a little bit of information, you know, kind of going into that, but it's saying, you know, overall, you need to be careful. You can't just like trade, or you can trade off of that, but you need to be careful trading off of that, mostly because, you know, it's not confirmed yet until the weekly closes. Today's energy, the 4 hours printing, the RSI, it's around 25.7 and deep oversold with trending strong jewel. The bearish impulse has been powerful, but is now statistically stretched to exhaustion. The 1 hour has flipped positive momentum with the stochastic silver bot and an extended jewel signal, creating direct time frame conflict that makes stop placement a coin flip. The 15-minute ribbon has collapsed to the 0.08% spread with an active exit warning. The Kinematic engine is running on fumes. So if we go back here, we'll go to the 1 hour and 4 hour, kind of check out what it's talking about. Give it a second to load. Being a little slow today. All right, there we go. So you can see the 1 hour is actually looking pretty similar. Like I said, we got those two beast mode candles. Excuse me. So you're seeing that kind of flip in trend. You're seeing the 1 hour say it does want, in fact, to go up. Jewel is pretty heavily oversold here. We're starting to kind of pull out of it now. Coming up into this little bounce. Looks like we're going to do a little bit of a pullback right now. We'll see. Looking at the 4 hour, kind of check that out. 4 hours looking pretty similar here. all the moving averages stacked to the downside. You got the jewel, same thing, 2 different beast mode candles. One is way back here on this little dip before we drop down even farther, and then one is here in last night into this morning's kind of price action. A little bit of a pump here, and then now we're kind of coming back down. We'll see how this kind of plays out. Obviously nothing's confirmed yet, but it does look like we could be in for a little bit of a bounce here, especially with all the beast mode candles kind of forming here on the 4-hour and the 1 hour. So looking pretty good for a little bit of a bounce up in terms of the longer term price action. Obviously, like I said, the 15-minute is looking more short, so kind of overall you're kind of looking on both sides. There's a lot of conflicting price action, like I said. Let's head back here. All right, the weekly is printing a bullish divergence. The dominant selling force is losing momentum, confirming on the highest time frame reviewed. Every overnight session transition from the New York Open through the London Open carries on an active divergence warning. The 2 sessions simultaneously flagging exit and divergence. This is the most consistently warned overnight stack seen across 6 sessions. Well, okay, that's not a good sign there. So if we're looking here at the weekly here, this is where the divergence is happening. So I was actually wrong. It's actually the weekly that has the divergence, so even longer than I was thinking. We are about to cross our weekly 200 right here. That would be a pretty decent little drop there. That would definitely take us down quite a bit. Probably actually pretty interesting. The weekly 200 is pretty close to that 60,000 level, which is the level that we do need to clear in order to see price action kind of flip and show us that we're going to continue to the downside. You can kind of see the waves kind of forming here. So we got 3 coming down and then 4 going back up. So we need to cross the bottom of wave 3 before we can continue. We need to cross and close below wave 3 before we can see that continuation down, obviously, to the end of wave 5 around 40,000, 42 to 45,000. In terms of the Stoches, or sorry, not Stoches, the Jewel, it is looking pretty promising for continuation here. We came up, we kind of hit this Fibonacci level, and now we're seeing a retracement here. These longer term moving averages are kind of coming down, and they started to kind of turn with the blue, the shorter moving average, but now you can see price action kind of flipping back down to the downside with the pressure kind of still being bearish as well. So definitely a lot of flip to the downside here with the weekly. Definitely looking like a lot of bearish price action happen here. All right, so why is the system standing down? Condition 2 triggers. There's 2 condition triggers that it vetoed. So the 4-hour momentum is negative. Cinematic fuel is overextended at the 15 with an active exit warning, and the 15-minute cinematic grave is overextended. All 3 fuel exhaustion criteria are still simultaneously true, and the energy picture is partial to no alignment. Bearish direction exists structurally at the 4-hour and macro, but the 1-hour flipped to positive momentum and direct conflict. So essentially, the 4-hour, even though we were kind of saying, it might be going up here, it's saying that based off DTA that it's still looking for a little bit more downward action play before we see the up run, or a little bit of an up run at least. I don't know how much it'll be, but the 1 hour obviously has flipped, and now those two are conflicting. The entry time frame engine is stalled with the collapse of the 0.08 ribbon, and the weekly bullish divergence induces mean reversion risk that invalidates clean continuation probability to any measured target. There's our breakdown breakout trigger. We're sitting inside the 30-minute session box between the 66,841 level and the 67,150 level, pinned at the POC with no directional resolution. Compressed against all upper half of the session range and 503 points below the breakdown trigger. The session becomes tradable short when the 1 hour confirms the bearish momentum with a negative momentum slate, and the 50-minute cinematic grade resets to prime. Currently, the 1 hour is printing positive momentum worth overbought stochastics, and the 15-minute is overextended with an active exit warning, which means any short entry now is picked up on pennies in front of a mean reversion snap. A long setup becomes structurally valid only on a confirmed breakout above that 67,751 level, with a 1 hour jewel re-engaging, trending strong in the 15-minute reopening open with moderate and strong conviction. So really, you're not going to see much of any either way. That's kind of what it's saying. You have potential for both, but they both need a lot to happen to kind of set up either way. Yeah, that's kind of the call for today. So we're not really going for anything. Definitely a stand down day, definitely a sit back, kind of relaxed day. Yes, it might go up, yes, it might go down, but it's the time to kind of stay out, because we are in that session flip point. So you kind of want to wait a little bit. We had some decent trades last week, I believe, towards the middle of the week last week. So we got those, and now it's kind of that stand down period, and then we'll probably get some here coming up pretty soon. But yeah, we'll go check out the daily brief that I was talking about. You'll see kind of how it looks. So we got a bunch of different stuff on here that does not matter, but down here you can see this is kind of what the daily brief that we're going to send out will kind of look like. So we got a nice little title up here, and then you'll have a bunch of different sections you can kind of look through, similar to what's in the actual Kabroda dashboard that we show on the live all the time, but it'll be a little bit more laid out, a little bit written, a little bit more user friendly. It just makes a little bit more sense, not so technical, while still containing all of the levels and the things that you'd want to know and that you'd want to get out of the daily brief. We are going to make it a little bit cleaner. Like I said, this is just kind of a getting the idea on the paper, just kind of to show it a little bit. So you can see it's got all of the stuff on there. You could read through it if you want. It's basically just what we just read through on the live stream on the in the cockpit there within the market radar, but this is kind of it's just a little bit better, a little bit easier of a read. So like I said, yeah, you can pause it, kind of read through it if you want, but we just wanted to show you guys kind of what it could possibly look like whenever we get it kind of up and going, and whenever we start releasing stuff like this to the public again. It is gonna be nicer. Like I said, we'll probably have a little bit larger titles. We're gonna change up the maybe the font, we're gonna change up the layout, stuff like that. But overall, the informational piece is kind of the idea of what it's gonna look like. We do have a couple different ones. You can go to see yesterday Bitcoin session floors, exhausted bears meet weekly divergence. You can kind of read through, see some different things kind of going on in yesterday's market. If you're on the live yesterday, it's pretty similar to the daily market brief that was in yesterday's Bitcoin breakdown. And then yeah, you can just kind of go through and read all of them. They're all different. These are from last week, obviously, but it kind of just depends. Just check it out. It's kind of a cool little thing. You have to let us know what you think about it, though. Do you like this? Do you think this is something you'd like to have come into your inbox every day? Or I think the plan is to kind of put it on the website, but we'll see how we end up doing it. But I don't know. Yeah, just let us know. Would you like to see something like this? Do you think it's something that would add something to your trading? Do you think it'd be helpful to get something like this every day, kind of come to your mailbox? Or what kind of improvements would you like to see if you don't like it? Yeah, just let us know what you think. But that's kind of our idea for now with Kabroda there. But yeah, that's kind of it for today. So that's really what we're looking at. Like I said, we're standing down, so nothing too interesting here. Predator candle kind of close. Just nothing too interesting. Like I said, we'll see what happens. Could get some more down, could get some more up. Who knows? It's all up in the air right now. You know, we're really set up to go either way. Obviously, we're leaning a little bit more bullish just because of how price action on the longer time frames are kind of setting up. You're starting to see that curl to the other side, so maybe we'll see a pullback. How far will we pull back? That's kind of hard to say right now. We'll see, but we're not expecting anything super crazy. We're not expecting that, to go all the way up to, I don't even know. We're not expecting to like rip up. Definitely aren't going to be taking out the top again on, like, we go back and look at the weekly. We're not going to be coming all the way back up to 80,000 something, more than likely. Is it still in the cards? Technically, we still are in wave 4, so until we get that close below that 60,000 level, we could continue up a little bit higher. But I think we hit the level we were looking for in wave 4, but I don't remember exactly. But either way, we could kind of come up a little bit maybe before we break down. Definitely going to get some sort of a pullback. How large will that be? It'll just be to be determined, I guess. We'll have to stick with the chart. I didn't make you do that. If you click your scroll wheel on, well, I don't know if it works on anything, but yeah, it does work on anything. So you can click your scroll wheel on anything and it'll hide it. Or I think it hides it. It might delete it, I guess. Let's see. Yeah, it deletes it. Yeah, don't do that if you want your stuff. There we go. Yeah, it just deletes it. That's kind of crazy. Sorry, I got distracted. Yeah, this is the basics though. So just stick around. We'll be live again tomorrow. We'll be live next week. So you just have to stick with us. Check us out again. Continue to join in. Check out what we're doing. We'll let you know as we continue to develop that daily brief that we're kind of looking at. Yeah, we'll keep y'all updated. Keep y'all updated on some changes to the website. Just changes to how we're doing stuff, and we'll keep y'all in the loop, and hopefully keep y'all up to date with Bitcoin as well. Yeah, thanks for joining though. Thanks for coming in and checking us out again. If y'all are feeling obliged, please leave a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you're willing. Well, if you're not already subscribed, just hit the subscribe button so you can catch us more often. Hit that bell notification if you do want to see us, if you want to see us pop up in your notifications, definitely hit that bell notification. Yeah, just helps our channel grow, helps us reach more people, and helps you stay informed. So, win-win there. But yeah, thanks for joining again for the live stream. Like I said, we will be on tomorrow, 8:30 again, 8:30 a.m. CST. So you can figure out what time that is for you. But it's 8:30 here in Texas. So whatever that is for you and wherever you live, you can go ahead and do the math, figure that out. But we are. That's it for the live stream. So. Thanks for joining. Thanks for popping in, Straight Maker, and we will catch y'all tomorrow. Happy trading, y'all.